Well, 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 you have finally got here. You are listening to the Erskine Music Podcast. Here, by popular demand, we discuss life, culture, Christ, and of course, music. These half hour broadcasts are perfect for a commute, coffee time, chat, or any other gap in your schedule where you want to put great content. So without further ado, let's join the conversation today, already in progress.
Making them wait for it. Let's get this thing. Let's get this microphone up in my face. We're back. We are back. We are back. Season 8 of the Erskine Music Show. Hope you guys are doing well today. Jumping back into this thing. I don't know if you're in a snowy part of the world, a cold part of the world, the hot part of the world, because there's people who watch this show from all over the world. And I'm just glad that you guys are here today. I want to start out today with something that you're not going to at first understand, but it'll soon become clear to you why we start. And so I have to awaken from my slumber and get to it. All right, that's long enough for an intro. If you're not here by now, then you may not be coming. And if you're already here, you're ready for me to start. Let's get it. So here's what we got going for today. There's a couple of stories that I've been following, taking a little bit of a break on social media, and just kind of seeing what's out there, and just kind of seeing what's going on there. And there were several times that I thought, oh, I want to come in and I want to do a show on that one. I want to speak on that one. I want to talk about that. I want to that. But I thought, no, this is good. Take some time away, do some reading, do some writing. You guys know that I'm writing a book on leadership, and so I'm fleshing out a lot of these ideas, pen and paper. Well, actually typing them, actually speak typing them. But I'm fleshing out a lot of these ideas in the form of a book, organizing it, putting it together, and something that I want to distribute to the public to say, here's a surefire way for you to continue to grow in your leadership. And so I've been putting together a lot of thoughts that are related to ideas of leaders that I've seen out there. And so when I call Donald Trump a phony conservative, where's he at? Where's he at right now? Is he on the screen? No. Phony conservative, because he does not. That's a better image. Red man, because he does not truly champion pro life views. He does not truly champion the Bible and godlessness. He just knows it's a voter block that he needs to pay attention to and will help him become president. They have conservative values and they're generally good people, of which most Christians and believers are, most conservative people are. But he cares nothing for the actual Bible. He cares nothing submission to Christ. And there's a lot of people who just say, maybe who cares if he does that? As long as he beats those other people, then we're good to go. And I would say a pox on both their houses. And so just so you know where I'm coming from politically, I'll be following some of these stories. And then Nikki Haley. So we got some Nikki Haley sound that we're about to play. And the voters are going to the polls in New Hampshire today, even as we speak today. This is the scene that you have in New Hampshire. Yes, indeed. The voters, this is not New Hampshire voters, but this is somewhere somebody's voting, but it is New Hampshire today, where all eyes are there to see what is going to happen to Nikki Haley. I got some sound, and I just wrote it in my notes today so I didn't mess this up. I want to make sure that I'm clear and that I'm accurate on every word that I'm saying. But I wanted to say something about and to Nikki Haley. Um, she is our resident finger in the wind, spineless neocon. All right, so let's get to some Nikki Haley. What is this? Oh, that's even better. Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley. And that is not a chant of endorsement for her at all. And so I know there's a question that's looming in your mind. So if you don't like Donald Trump and you don't like Nikki Haley, who do you like?
And look, this is what the fellas do. The difference is I don't take politics personally.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And for the rest of this interview, you're actually about to take politics personally. And this is the kiss of death. I have blessed you, Nikki Haley. I'm about to call the end of your political campaign after New Hampshire. You're about to get your, well, you're about to get, Big Head is on this. I got another Big Head. Listen, I'm being victimized by Big Heads this year. Big Head originally is like, look, I'm the voice of reason. There, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I understand that. I understand that. But Big Head has got some friends. So it's big heads on the show this season. And there's another big head that has come in and he's reminded me that there's certain things that you just simply cannot say. Yes, I understand. I wasn't gonna I wasn't gonna talk about Nikki Haley literally getting spanked. I was just gonna talk about her getting spanked in the polls. Let's get back to some Nikki Haley sound. Where are we at? Presentation mode? Let's get it. I mean, how do I stop this? I want you guys to see this. Come on. Hang on a second. Hang on. I want you guys to see this in in its full scope. This is Nikki Haley spewing nonsense once again.
I focus on policy that's going to make America stronger.
You focus on policies that are going to bankrupt America and pad your stats and pad your own self interest as it relates to defense spending. Why in the world are we championing all of these massive spending bills for Ukraine? Look, I love Ukrainian people. I know Ukrainian people. I know Russian people. I know, look, there's a lot of good people that are over there. What in the world are we doing spending that much money in Ukraine? Are we trying to fight a proxy war? Are we trying to defeat the Soviet Union, Boris Yeltsin? Are we trying to defeat the Russians? They're coming, Red Dawn style. What in the world are we doing? What are we doing? Well, I know there's some people who can monetarily get rich from defense spending. Nikki Haley spewing nonsense.
I don't take politics personally. I'm not thin skinned like Donald Trump.
You are very thin skinned. And in fact, when Vivek Ramaswamy called out you and some of the hypocritical policies that you have and the hypocritical way that you live, you were very offended by that. What did you call him, a jerk? What did you call him? And he look, Vivek, you were kind of a jerk. But at the same time, Nikki, you take things very personally.
I think that
And you're about to take this loss personally too. She's gonna cry. I think she's gonna cry today. I think you're going to see Nikki Haley cry by the end of the night. I'm just gonna go ahead and call my shot. I could be wrong, but I'm coming back and I'm doing a show tomorrow and we can talk about it. But Nikki Haley is going to cry after what happens to her tonight. And I don't even like Donald Trump. I'll be very clear about that. I think that he's a phony conservative. And look, ranking the phony conservatives, Donald Trump is up here. Nikki Haley is just slightly below him, but they're both spewing a bunch of nonsense.
people don't want that. They want a leader who's going to bring out the best in people and get our country going forward. He didn't call, he didn't text, he didn't tell me that he was going to do this. I
Why are you mad
texted
at
him
Tim
and said,
Scott? Now, for those of you who watch my show any length of time, and I'm going to be really quick on this because this is not the top story for the day, but for those of you who have watched this show for any length of time, you know that prior to the last election, so even 4 years or so ago, I had endorsed Tim Scott for president. He wasn't running for president at the time. And so I said, I'm going to write him a letter, wrote a letter to his campaign. I said, hey, you would make a wonderful presidential candidate. And so he ended the race and then he got out of the race. He just got engaged. So congratulations to Tim Scott. But that is an example of conservatism that this country sorely needs. Now, we don't often get we don't often get what we want, but sometime, and I would probably say the majority of the time, sovereignly all the time, we get what it is that we deserve. What we should want is someone like a Tim Scott. What we should want is someone who actually lives out the conservative values and has lived out the conservative values and sees those things in America being able to move forward with a breadth of integrity. That's what we should want. But what we default to is our own special interest in the form of what Donald Trump can provide for us, conservatives. I'm not really speaking too much about Joe Biden, but I got some Joe Biden sound that's coming in a little bit later. We default to those types of things. And so we end up with a poor leader in the sense of integrity, character, and the moral fabric and tenor of discussion in our country, and Donald Trump. And then we get what we deserve. We have a fractured and divided country. And I'm not blaming that all on Donald Trump. I'm not blaming maybe the majority of that on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a reflection of conservatives in this country. When I call Donald Trump a phony conservative, it's because the conservatives in this country are phony conservatives. They're not truly conservative. I've heard conservative people who will not stand up on the issue of pro life because they're afraid of the repercussions of what would happen if they really truly took a stand on that. And that's repulsive to me. It's reprehensible that people would call themselves conservative and not yet actually embrace conservative values. It's conservative values that built this country and conservative values that will preserve this country and keep this country. And listen, the Lord is gracious. If you're watching this today and you're not a believer, you're not involved in politics, listen, the Lord is gracious. His gracious hand has blessed this country with a few grains of salt of people who are actually conservative, who are holding up the moral fabric of the rest of all the nonsense that's going on around us. So, lest you guys think that I like Donald Trump, is there anybody that's watched this for more than 30 seconds who believes that I like Donald Trump? And so, again, here's the deal. I am a child of God. I happen to be a Black American. I happen to be someone who is concerned about the state of affairs. I have children, I have a family. I love the people in whom I stand before. And I see deception on every side. Satan is deceiving in politics, Satan is deceiving in the church. The church doesn't even know where it's going in many regards. And I was writing about this in my book. I love college ministry. Like, where would I fit in society if I wasn't a social media person? I would think, man, I would be on a college campus in a second. I love college students. I love their energy. I love their desire for truth. They see through a lie very quickly. They're easily impressionable to some extent, cult of personality type folks. But the reason why I love college ministry is because that's the next generation that's coming out. It's like the next wave of what's going on there. I love college ministry because I hate college ministry. And I'll get into that a little bit later. And I don't want to reveal everything that's going to be in my book. I want you guys to actually go and buy my book. And so I'm trying to finish the first manuscript of it and get it edited and get all those different things out there. So you'll hear more in season 8 about where we're at, the status of the book. But I love conservatives and conservative values because I hate conservative values. I love the church because I hate the church. And I'll tease that out throughout my book and I'll tease that out through season 8. But really, when we start cooking on this thing, the reason why I'm a social media influencer is because we didn't have to say a pox on both their houses. I'm going to let Nikki Haley finish spewing nonsense.
Look, I want to sit down and talk because we had only spoken once since then. I said, I'd love to sit down and talk about endorsement. He said, I'm getting with my team to figure that out.
You know what that's called? It's called the Nashville No. You said, hey, Tim Scott, let's get together and talk about what it would mean for you to endorse since you're out of the race. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll call you. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know, if you're in Nashville and you're an artist or you've ever been in Nashville or you've ever been around the entertainment industry, it is the perpetual nonsense of the Nashville No. Yeah, man, let's get together sometime. Yeah, let's go grab coffee. Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. Oh, man, that was a great project, man. I really want to. Yeah, come on, you ain't ever going to hear from him again. Look, that's called the Nashville No. When Tim Scott told you, look, yeah, let me talk to my team and I'll have my people reach out to your people and then we'll talk about endorsement. If he didn't say yes there on the spot because he's a man of integrity, it's because he didn't want to tell you to your face no. And the reason why he didn't want to tell you no to your face is because he knew that you would start crying, Nikki Haley, because that's the kind Tim Scott, he's a nice guy, man. He's a nice man and conservative and who America should be fawning over to become the next president of the United States. He would beat Joe Biden so bad, Joe Biden would go into a retirement home. He would just say, you know what, I'm not even gonna come out of the retirement home. I'm here now. I'm gonna eat through a straw and the rest of the stuff. That's what Joe Biden would be doing if he had to run against Tim Scott. Tim Scott would tear his rear end up. That's okay. So, Nikki, you're the last person in the world to figure this one out. Why are you offended? Because you don't take politics personally. Why are you the last person to figure out that the reason why Tim Scott didn't call you and or endorse you is because he don't like you, like nobody else likes you, and like you're about to find out in New Hampshire?
And I never heard anything else again.
You are not going to hear anything else. He will never talk to you again. Are you? She's in South Carolina as well. She's going to lose in New Hampshire and she's going to cry in public. And then she's going to go to South Carolina, her own state, and she's going to get beat. If she stays in, she might just drop out tonight. She might just say, you know what? She thinks she's got momentum going to South Carolina. Okay. She goes to South Carolina and she just going to get. All right. Stop it.
We've got New Hampshire, we've got South Carolina, we've got Super Tuesday. We're going to keep on going and we're going to fight and we're going to win. I'm used to people underestimating me. It's always fun. But there were 14 people in this race and now they're two.
All right. Congratulations, Nikki Haley. Not. Get off my screen. All right. So that was a quick sound bite and not the top story for today. So we're at 36 minutes. Let me just go ahead and get another sound bite that's up there. We got to get some Joseph Robinette Biden sound bite up here as well. March for Life. And look, you already know where this is about to go. The March for Life just happened in D.C. and someone, or a group of reporters were asking Joseph Robinette Biden what was his response to the March for Life. It wasn't that I'm going to go to it and support it. He, in fact, today he is passing or discussing new legislation, new ways he and Kamala that they can combat the pro-life movement and push forward the agenda of death in our culture. That's what they're doing today. That's how they're spending their time in the elected office that we have put them in so that they can figure out how to kill more babies. So I want to be clear about where I stand on that issue, if I haven't already been clear about where I stand on that issue, because God is the giver of life. And if you want to check out my song, Giver of Life, should have won a Grammy this year, but it didn't. That's okay. We'll keep making some more songs. I'm just going to keep writing. I'm like John Piper. I'm going to keep writing the same song over and over again until somebody finally listens. But he was asked about the March for Life. And look, there were a lot of encouraging, positive things that were out there. I appreciate a lot of and if you can go online, you can see any of those things, articles that are out there, sound bites that are out there. And one of the most encouraging things that I have seen, comment section is on. One of the most encouraging things that I have seen is I have seen the momentum not wane after taking down Roe versus Wade, but the momentum in many ways has increased and has continued. And that speaks volumes to the fact that this is an issue that until we completely change the landscape of what is going on in relationship to this issue, we need to continue to contend for life. And so I do so much appreciate a lot of the things that came out of the March for Life. The news media didn't want to cover it. People wanted to be hush hush about it, but it is continuing to go on. But I want to talk about this from the vantage point of the progressives. Let's talk about this from the standpoint of the progressives. What vested interest? We're going to try to make this a single. Listen, if you're watching this today, there's absolutely no chance whatsoever that Joseph Robinette Biden can beat anybody. I can run for president against Joseph Robinette Biden and win. He's not fit for office. Mentally, he is deteriorated right in front of our eyes. I would dare someone to try to argue any differently. He is deteriorating, becoming a shell of a human being in front of the American public, in front of the world stage. Some of the most embarrassing scenes that we've seen, and we just try to act like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh man, he looks bad. Oh, he didn't go in the wrong direction. Oh, I mean, listen, I am for people being taken care of in the final stages of their life. Dignity all throughout life. Life matters. And his life should matter enough that somebody in the Democratic Party should take him aside and say, brother, we got to take care of you. But you know what? They're not going to do that because they're not actually about life. They're just about their politics. They're just about winning at whatever cost it is for them to win. And so they're going to make this a single issue vote. He's going to double down on the issue of life. He's going to talk about the injustices that have taken place as a result of overturning Roe versus Wade. And he's going to make it a single issue to galvanize the 90 or so million, 90 million people that are out there who look at that issue and say, but it's just got to be a woman's choice. But I just think the government should not be. Look, he's going to try to capitalize on that's all he's got. He can't talk about defense. He can't talk about economics. He's going to give a discussion today on Bidenomics. Does he not understand the word inflation? Does he not understand what the actual middle to lower middle class people are actually experiencing in our society? We need to talk about Bidenomics. What are we talking about? He can't talk about the economy. He can't talk about foreign policy. He sure as heck better not start talking about the border crisis that we're experiencing. He's got nothing to talk about, nothing to run on. He's not charismatic at all. He's not winsome at all. He's not even logical in the arguments that he's making. He's a shell of a human being, and they're going to prop him up there once again to promote their interest in Kamala Harris. Kamala, my sister. Yeah, actually, you're not my sister. And I'm going to pray for you because the buffoonery of Kamala Harris that has taken place on the world stage, embarrassing in front of millions of people, some of the stupid things that you've been saying around the world, some of the ridiculous things that you are now doing. Kamala, there were hopes, and correct me if I'm wrong. You can jump in if you want to on this discussion. I haven't looked at the comment section in a while. I'll look at it in here in just a second. But there were hopes, high hopes in the Democratic Party that you, Kamala Harris, would become a figure that would be so beloved as vice president, that you would be able to perhaps slide into the role of president because you would have a wave and a momentum of people who had grown to love you over the last 4 years. That is not what has happened. You've had a wave of people who have been embarrassed. And I'm not talking about conservatives. I spent time talking about the conservatives. You know I don't like them. I'm talking about the progressives, the liberals, the Democrats, who had put their hope in you, Kamala, that you would emerge as a figure that they could put their trust in, as a figure that they could look to as the new hope, while aged Joe Biden just sort of like Endgame, or I guess it would be Infinity Wars, just kind of withers away into dust. There would emerge a Kamala Harris, who would be the first woman president of the United States, and you've done nothing but embarrass the Democratic Party, be an embarrassment to the American people. And so, I mean, as a Christian, I am praying for you. I'm praying that the Lord get a hold of your heart and that you change some of the ridiculous nomenclature and policies that you guys are putting forward. But you've been an embarrassment to the Democratic Party. Let's watch this story.
March for Life. We have team coverage beginning at the White House, where we asked President Joe Biden about the annual pro-life event. White House correspondent Owen Jensen reports.
Hi, Tracy. Let me set it up for you first. As President Joe Biden was walking towards
I'm not gonna
Marine
say
One
very much
today
about
on his
this.
way to North Carolina
I've already
for a
said
speech
enough.
on Bidenomics, I asked him about the March for Life. And his reply was short, just one word, in fact, but take a listen.
President Joe Biden leaving the White House today, and over the noise of reporters
Man, he's
shouting
frail.
questions, I'm able
He
to
is
ask
frail.
him.
President, the March for Life is tomorrow. The March for Life is tomorrow in Washington, D.C. The March for Life is tomorrow in Washington, D.C.
Okay, you
What's your
said it
message to those
enough times,
attending?
bro.
March. Sir,
My question comes just hours after the Biden campaign details how it plans to use the topic of abortion to win in November. It includes
Wait a minute. If they can say abortion on the news, then I can say abortion. Why do I get banned on social media and in Facebook? They try to kill my algorithm when I say abortion. They say abortion all the time. That's one of their main policies. You see the double speaking things that are going on there. Facebook and these people don't like you to use what could be incendiary language, but then they talk about it all the time, and it's okay. They can put that word out there and try to favor it and position it in such a way. But when I talk about it from a very unfavorable standpoint as a pro-life conservative, as a Christian, then all of a sudden don't be saying that. Don't say that. We're gonna have to kill your views. We have to bring this down. We're not gonna show this to people. Oh, this is offensive speech. What kind of nonsense is that?
Fight.
slamming former President Donald Trump over what it calls his abortion bans across America. Biden recently criticized Trump for his role in overturning Roe v. Wade.
Look at how frail. Look, Donald Trump, he has some vibrancy to himself, but look, this is what we get a chance to look at. Old dude versus old dude. Old, aged, frail dude versus old dude.
Wade. Now Trump is trying to unseat Biden.
And it's time for the Republican Party, frankly, to come together and to unify. We have to unify and focus all of
He's
our
losing some
resources
steam.
and energy and effort on defeating crooked
Y-
Joe
y'all
Biden,
can see that,
the
right?
worst president in the history of our country.
The Trump campaign highlighted his pro-life achievements last month,
Donald
writing,
Trump is losing
President
steam.
Trump's record of delivering policy victories for voters of faith is unmatched, adding he sent a powerful message that life matters when he became the first and only president ever to attend the March for Life. EWTN covered Trump's 2020 speech on the National Mall.
And we are fighting for those who have no voice. And
Listen, you guys know I don't like Donald Trump. I do not like Donald Trump. I think he's a phony conservative, and I think his attendance at the March for Life is nothing more than grandstanding so that he can keep the voter base who he knows is single issue voters. There are millions of Americans that are single issue voters. They don't even care who's the names of the candidate. I don't even care the names. What have they done? I don't even care what they've done in the past. Where they stand on the subject of abortion. All right, they're pro-life. Okay, I'm good. Vote for them. I don't care what else they've done. And you know there are millions of Americans who have dumbed down the political process to just being a single issue that they are concerned about in America. That's a very, very, very big issue. Donald Trump is a phony conservative. And when you tell me he's standing up and he's doing all of these different things to support life, look, there's legislation that has been passed, but that's not legislation that he put forward. That's just legislation that he just continued to go along with because he knew that it would be advantageous for him. Donald Trump is a businessman. If you don't believe this, look at the entirety of his record. He will close the deal. What do I need for these stupid conservatives that are out there that attend the March for Life? Go speak, say a couple of words. Cool, good. I can go do that. What do I need to get the conservatives? Okay, go hold the Bible. We'll go take a picture of that. And you holding the Bible. Okay, you ever read that thing? Your political advisors were Paula White. Paula White was one of your political advisors. You're going to try to tell me that he had any semblance of spiritual guidance and direction? Paula wishes she was black, white. And that's kind of ironic. But anyway, so we got Donald Trump that is here, who's speaking at the March for Life 2020, January, wants to be acknowledged and thought of in a certain light. He's a phony conservative.
But in the Biden administration's abortion push, Vice President Kamala Harris will keep hitting the road. On Monday, the anniversary of Roe, she'll be in swing state Wisconsin. Earlier, she spoke at the U.S. Conference of Mayors winter meeting in Washington, D.C.
We respect autonomy and bodily autonomy, and frankly, that we trust women.
And on this eve of the March for Life, the Biden campaign says the president, vice president, first lady, and second gentleman will.
Oh man, look at this, folks. Look at these folks. Our poor president. I'm gonna stop right now. I'm gonna pray for President Biden. I don't think he's gonna make it. I mean, that's not like a strong prediction or anything, but he does not look well. And to get out on the campaign trail and to actually be going out and doing politics and running for president of the United States, let's pray. Y'all pray with me. Heavenly Father, I just pray for Joseph Robinette Biden. I pray that you would give him strength. I pray that his life would not be wasted away with policies and politics that will drain his life. But I pray, Lord, that he would find the Prince of Peace who would give life to him, give purpose behind his steps, give momentum to his day and to the remaining life that he has left. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, that certainly gives a sense of why people enjoy this show. Very engaging, very heartfelt. We will return to the conversation in a few moments, but first, let's thank our sponsors and you for all your awesome support. Moody Radio's Dawn and Steve Morning Show, Life Action Ministries, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and Holt International. Thanks so much to our partners who make such a difference.
Thanks, Jason. This is Dawn.
And this is Steve of Don and Steve in the Morning on Moody Radio. You can find us online at donandsteve.org.
Top story for today's D1. Let's go.
Moody Radio app.
And as friends of the Erskine Music Show, we always enjoy the variety of topics Fred has on his show.
So, on behalf of our show, thanks, Erskine, for bringing great
All right, so this is
Christ-centered
D1.
topics to the people.
The
All
Art
right,
of Dialogue,
let's get back to the show.
522,000
This is where it
subscribers.
gets
and
good.
so I'm sure they need some more subscribers. They 522,000. So subscribe to their channel, Art of Dialogue. Here's a dialogue with the Rapzilla Artist of the Year 2023 D1. If you've not been following him, he called out Rick Ross, Meek Mill, Joe Budden. Try to open up his mouth and talk to this guy. Because what is this guy doing? He's doing something that a lot of, well, signed to major record label artists don't have the courage to do. And that's actually talk about Jesus. I said it. D1 actually started talking about Jesus, and not just talking about Jesus, because at a certain level, the music industry that's making money off of Jesus doesn't care if you talk about Jesus. They just don't want you talking about the themes of like sin. They don't want you talking about the themes of pro-life. They don't want you talking about the things that go on behind the scenes and exposing people. Come on now. That's a little too Christian. And they don't want you talking about it. And here's D1. I'd love to sit down and have an interview with D1 myself, because I'd love to ask him about his local church and who's discipling him. But they don't want you to talk about the implications of living a Christian life. And we'll get more on that. But I just want to give you a quick preview there. All of the links for this show can be found if you want to go and do your own research. Rapzilla. The article is there in relationship to him. This article, if you want to see it in its entirety, we're only going to be able to watch a little bit of it today, but I wanted to get into this whole idea of him talking about being offered a record deal to perform homosexual acts by gatekeepers. That headline is not quite accurate, but let me just go ahead and say this. Is this microphone on? I'm yelling in the microphone, and I'm hearing it in my ear, so I guess it's on. There's way too much influence of the homosexuals in the music industry. Can I go ahead and say that right now? There's way too much influence of homosexuals in the music industry who have money, who have influence, who are gatekeepers, who are keeping the conversation at a certain narrative, at a certain temperature, and of certain themes. Virtually everybody knows that. If you don't know that, then my question to you is, are you even in the music industry? Because it only look, I moved to Nashville 11 years ago. It only took me 13 seconds to figure out. Listen, I'm surrounded by effeminate men. I'm surrounded by effeminate musicians. I'm surrounded by effeminate artists. And some of them weren't very good, who seem to be making progress in the music industry. I wonder what those conversations behind closed doors are like. But just the conversations. Because the conversation, hey, here's some of the things that we like to do, and here's some of the ways we like to talk. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm okay with that. You sure as heck know. If there's anything you need to know, if there's anything you don't already know, don't ever try to have a conversation whereby the conversation is, we're going to go ahead and be homosexual in our orientation, and try to make it palatable to Christ, and ask me if that's going to be okay. Nah, fools. I'll expose you. I'll call your name out in public. Actually, biblically, I should call your name out privately. And I would do that. But listen, if we don't get a response, somebody's at the door. If we don't get a response, and I see you scurrying around in your house Look, I'm at the door. Why y'all acting like y'all are not there? I can see you. You're right there on the other side of the door. Y'all gonna open the door? Listen to what D1 has to say.
Because gatekeepers in hip hop?
Gatekeepers in the music industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on what part of the industry you're trying to get access to, there's gatekeepers. So if you're trying to get signed to a major label, there's gatekeepers. If you're trying to get on certain media platforms to get interviewed, there's gatekeepers. If you're trying to get on the mainstream radio, you heard me, urban radio, there's gatekeepers. Yes.
What I love is that he's got Star Wars stuff in the background. I don't know if this is his studio. I don't know whose studio this is, but the Stormtrooper, that's classy. And then Chewbacca, that's absolutely classy. So stay classy. Whoever's studio this is fire. I love it.
I would say one last thing about gatekeepers. The only true gatekeeper to what's meant for you in this world is God and your level of integrity.
We might have to do 2 parts on this. Tomorrow I've got CSP Sound that's going to come in and we do like a 3-part interview. But we might have to do 2 segments on this. Because I want to draw this out. It's kind of like if I'm playing basketball and like I noticed like, hey, a slower defender just switched and got on me. I'm gonna go ahead and back up like Chris Paul. Like now, I want you to come out and try to guard me. I'm either shooting in your face, or I'm about to hit you with that in and out crossover. Or if I hit you with the in and out and then you don't move, I'm just going in and out. I'm going to the right. I'm gonna tell you what move I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna do it to you because you're a slower defender and you can't stop me. And so I might just want to just draw this interview out and just, hey, let's back this up just a second. Let me let y'all come out here. Music artists who are watching this, y'all need to hear some of the stuff that's being said here. Integrity has stopped a lot of people from moving forward. And that's the other side of the equation. If you don't have integrity, you can't move forward. If you don't have integrity and you move forward, you watch the decline of that and the destruction of that on the other side of that. You just keep getting promoted, advanced, but there's no integrity and there's no character there. And so eventually it all falls to pieces and people go, wow, I thought that was stronger than that. I thought that was something. And so he's talking about that, but then he's talking about something that I think is an awesome theme. You guys know that I'm a reformed man, reformed from my former way of life, but reformed in my thinking with regards to scripture. God has ordained good works, whatever our good works are in music. He has prepared those. He has let me use the word predestined. And if you're uncomfortable with that word, I'm sorry, get comfortable with it. It's in the Bible. But he has ordained our good works in advance. If you don't believe me, read Ephesians 2, verses 8 through 10. 10 in particular talks about the good works that are prepared in advance that we should walk in those things. We are his poiema. This is the Greek word that is found there. We're God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works that be prepared in advance that we should walk in those. So there's nobody that's going to stop me from going and being and doing what it is that I'm on assignment to do. I will not be late. I will not be deterred. My detours are actually the promotion that God has given me. There's been a lot of times when I thought, hey, I'm going to go and do this. And then the Lord shows me that I'm doing this. Well, the going and doing that, which was the detour, was actually the promotion to the next thing. Come on, D1.
It's the only 2 gatekeepers, because what's meant for you and what you want, that's 2 different things. And a lot of times people end up wanting things that ain't of God. And now if you want something that ain't of God, you got to go through gatekeepers. So I'd rather go through God than go through gatekeepers any day. So all these people, all the times that I have encountered these gatekeepers in the industry and I'm knowing I'm overqualified for something, but I got somebody telling me I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough for this, or I'm not paying enough for that,
Which is funny, because a lot of times in the music industry, people don't respond to you at all. They won't tell you, hey, you're not good enough for this. Although there were a couple of people in the music industry who said, Erskine, you're remarkably average. And I took that as a cue that I needed to work harder and I needed to do better and I needed to continue to improve in my craft. And I did. And thoughtfully, helpfully, after I finished the first album, they came back and they said, wow, this is incredible. You have done what you were asked to do. And so they just said it'll just be whatever God wants it to be at this point. And I felt like that was an actual helpful interaction, because it was, look, improving your craft, improving what it is that you're doing. And not to say that after that we just arrived, but it was the validation of saying you can put the hard work in and have people acknowledge the hard work for what it is. But a lot of times in the music industry, if you know anything about the music industry, people don't respond to you. They don't reply to you. They don't care. They're just trying to figure out a way to not have to deal with you. And so I'm sure he's experienced some of that as well. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of comments on here today. Keep going with this interview because he's teasing out some things here.
I had to learn through maturity that wasn't of God. You feel me? And that's what you got to check. Do you have godly ambition or do you have selfish ambition? And in this world, it's very easy to have selfish ambition, and that'll take you on a pathway to where you're going through all these gatekeepers who really ain't nobody in the big scheme of things. On the totem pole of people with integrity and people with morals, values, and principles, these gatekeepers ain't nobody.
Now, he says something here that's very important. And listen, we go to malls, we go to shopping centers, we order food. We live in a society in which we are bumping into people all the time. I don't necessarily have to like the Publix employee that's checking me out, or the one who's making the sandwiches there, or have a relationship with them to be able to do business. And there is a certain aspect of the music business which is people do the perfunctory task, and that's just the business aspect of what's going on there. Big Head wants to join the discussion. He's like, you don't. Okay, fine, Big Head. Yes, I'll get you back on the screen later, but let me cook for just a second. At a certain level, though, you recognize the gatekeepers, quote unquote, because really when he's talking about gatekeepers, quote unquote, you recognize the gatekeepers are not even the type of people that, be careful here, because a lot of people have worked hard and they put a lot of time in, and they've positioned themselves over a long period of time to be where it is they're at. But they're just not awesome people. They're just not awesome people. They're just people who are there. And look, every life matters. Like my song says, life matters. But not everything, and I guess I'm having a hard time saying this, but not everybody that you meet needs to be or will be a person that you'll look at and you'll say, I can see the correlation between character, integrity, conviction, and positioning you in a place where you have the opportunity to impact so many people's lives.
Well, you probably already know that when you hear that sound, there's music on the way. After all, this is kind of a music show. Sit back and enjoy. All the music can be easily found on your favorite digital distribution channels. Turn up the volume and here we go.
The fight within. If everybody wants to win, be careful of your friends. Yo, the day is coming with no more of these rivalries. The timeline in an age of possibility. Crying out, nobody's listening. Chasing after bad dreams, yeah, they thought they had me. Keep on going along. New days coming and it won't be long. Amplify, Jesus is coming louder. If you didn't know, he is the king of the mountain. it possible that maybe press time is getting lazy? Don't hate me, cause I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If we really wanna change things, it ain't working to maintain things. Jesus, yeah, he saved me, and he changed me, cause he's the king of the mountain. Keep on going along, new days coming and it won't be long. Everybody, Jesus is coming louder. If you didn't know, he is the king of the mountain. Keep on going along, new days coming and it won't be long. Everybody, Jesus is coming louder. If you didn't know, he is the king of the mountain. I can see clearly now that he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, oh. And when lightning strikes, you won't have time to think twice. Oh, no. Talk to him.
First he came to serve, now he's king of the mountain. And then he laid his life, now his life is abounding. Hold strong, won't be long, few more steps. No death, unlimited breath, a reset. The moon red, the sun dark, the sky black. The horn blow, thunder roll, the sky crack. Every eye is gonna see, everybody bow the knee. Everything is coming clean, all before the King of Kings.
Keep on going along. New days coming and it won't be long. Everybody, Jesus is coming louder. If you didn't know, he's the king of the mountain. Keep on going along. New days coming and it won't be long. Everybody, Jesus is coming louder. If you didn't know, he's the king of the mountain. Yo, he's the king of the mountain. Yeah. If you didn't know, mountain.
You're coming back.
Yeah, mountain.
You have power over, and this is very loosely, you have power over all of these people's lives and all these people's careers and all these people's ministry because you have been positioned in that place because of your integrity and your character and your knowledge and your expertise. And it's amazing that as you run through the portals of the music industry, you begin to see people who are positioned there in places of influence by simply nothing. It's the magic act of the century. They're dangling there, and it's like, you don't have character, you don't have conviction, you haven't done anything, you don't know anything, you can't really help anybody out, you don't really have a message, you don't really have a ministry, you don't really have an example that you could share with people or show people, and you're just there. I say, you're freaking in the way. You're not helping anybody, you're just in the way of people who are trying to move forward in life. And so I've chosen to be an independent because there's just so many things where the folks that are in the music industry, not only are they not helpful, but they're in the way. Get the heck out of the way so I can actually cook and do what it is that I'm needing to do. Now you say, well, if you would go through those gatekeepers, then you'd have access to the big stages and the big arenas. But listen to what I do have access to. Even in the small stages, I'm gonna be in Iowa this week. I'll be doing a house concert. There might be 30 people who are there. And they'll be able to get close enough to me and we'll be able to have conversations. We'll be able to really talk about things. And there have been situations before where I've gone and I've done small concerts before where I've been talking to people who are at the brink of marriage collapse and able to interact with them in a way that is vitally important at that particular time for that particular person in that particular place. And there's more of those things that commend just, if you're a gatekeeper and you want to impact people's lives, then there's got to be some connection with people's lives, not just that, because 30 seconds after you do the big show and the big production, they've already paid the money. They're in the concert, smoke lights and everything. Then they've forgotten about what it is you just showed them. They're on to the next thing. Been to so many of those conferences. Keep on cooking, D1.
But in this perverted, sick, twisted industry, these gatekeepers do hold access to certain levels, Bro, I've had gatekeepers in the music industry who have literally tried to hold a record deal behind their back and let me know, like, look, if you if you're a part of this homosexual act that I'm trying to take part in, you hear me? Yeah, come on, this door open real quick for you. Like I got a song where I've talked about that before called The Devil's Playground. Like, this is real, dog. And the only way that that type of stuff can work on you is if you let them have all the leverage to where you want what's behind that gate that bad. So that's a real thing. You also got people who, this a different type of gatekeeper. The gatekeepers who will say, hey, you making too much righteous noise right now. If you just tone that righteousness down a little bit, then we'll allow you into these doors.
Yes.
But you got to tone that down. You got to become a little more vanilla, you heard me? A little more lukewarm, a little more bland, and you'll fit in with us more.
So he's spitting facts right here, because why is it that you can turn on the radio and it doesn't matter who it is? And CCM is really bad about this, but Christian hip hop is starting to get into this as well, especially the Christian hip hop that is becoming a little bit more quote unquote mainstream. People will say this and it's almost axiomatic, meaning it's just kind of the way that it is. But they'll say, man, after about 30 minutes, all the music kind of sounds the same. The music is dumbed down. The message is dumbed down. The way that they're told to sing the message is dumbed down. It's just a perpetual cycle of dumbing down. Listen, when I find a new artist that's out there, usually, you know, that new artist, spirit of God, natural talent that's been refined and honed, discipleship, all those different things. I really get excited about those new artists that I find that are out there. Their stuff is banging. But I tell you what, there's been a lot of new artists who their first album, incredible. Second album, is good. Third album sounds just like everybody else. Because the music industry will try to train that out of you. It'll try to train that dog out of you so that you can just, hey, look, we're selling more units now that you're kind of getting on board with everything else. We can keep this thing going. You can stay a part of what's going on there. Don't be too far outside of the box, because that's making us take a risk, and the formula is not set up to be able to receive that. What would happen if instead of trying to make everybody vanilla, trying to dumb everybody down to a certain level, you just let people cook? Well, the music industry, you should just know this. The music industry is not set up to just let you cook. In fact, if you start cooking, the music industry is going to come looking for you. And I've literally had music executives tell me, I don't care what the music sounds like. I don't even listen to the music. What I want to see is, how is this music impacting people? It could be polka music for all I care, with a Christian tint to it. And if people are getting into it, then I'm into it, because I want to sell units. And they just, I mean, behind closed doors, they just tell it like it is. And so again, D1 is become immensely unpopular and immensely unpopular in the music industry for the very same reason that he's speaking to some of these things that everybody knows, but somebody finally came out and said. Other people have come out and said these things, but now D1 has got the spotlight now because his platform has been elevated, because he's actually calling out and saying, look, as a music industry in the whole, how this impacts me and how this impacts my community. It's one thing if it's just entertainment, and he talks about that in some other interviews. If it's just entertainment and it's just words and we just throw it up on a screen and it doesn't impact people's lives, then let's, some live, some will, some won't. So what? Let's just go about our own life. But if these words and these ideas and the way that the craft and the skill and the gift of music is used is impacting people's lives in a certain way and causing them to think certain things, and sometimes in the Christian music industry, think untrue things about God, then we need to examine those things and figure out if we're going to be, and I think we should, if we're going to be insistent that the word goes out and is preached accurately, what about in the exegesis of our culture, the words that are going out into our culture? Are those true words? Are those helpful words? Are those harmful words that are going out into our culture? And D1 has been willing to call some things out. And look, it starts at the level of the artist having a certain ambition and saying, man, I really want to get this record deal. I really want people to see me in this way. And then it also goes to the level of the executives as well, because, hey, it takes two to tango. The executive saying, you know what, we really can make a bunch of money off of Jesus. We just have to do it a certain way. We have to do it in the most plain and vanilla way possible. Why is it that Mormons can listen to Christian music? They should be aghast. They should be appalled. What a false, heretical doctrine inspired by demons, they're going to hell. But look, they can listen to Christian music because it's just so bland in general. And most Mormons think that they're Christians anyway. Why is it that false religions have no problem listening to the current crop of Christian music that we have out there? Doesn't call them to anything. It doesn't call them to understand suffering and sacrifice and commitment and betraying your whole entire life and saying, I am the sinner who deserves death. I am the one in whom Jesus came and has the offer of life for, that must repent of my sins and put my trust in Jesus Christ. If the world is comfortable with your music to the point where it doesn't challenge them in any way, shape, form, or fashion, or you as the artist challenge them with the music and the songs that you have, I don't really know. I don't really rank you that high. Maybe it's just a discipleship issue. Maybe it's an overestimation of your talent, because the most talented people, I've watched them come and I've watched them go. Come and then they go.
So that's the slick gatekeeping. It ain't telling you, it ain't telling you to all the way, bend over or open your mouth or something like that. It ain't that.
You could have used a different word than bend over. Oh, hang on a second.
But it's telling you, like, dim
dropping the soap on purpose.
Your light. And what ends up happening is you got so many people that's like, well, that's not that bad. They not asking me to do nothing super crazy. I just got to dim my light. That's the scariest kind right there. Because a lot of people will be like, wait, I just got to turn it from level 10 to level 5? Man, bet. I could do that, bro. I bet. Now I get accepted? Cool. Next thing you know, you got a whole industry, brother, that's lukewarm. Whole industry lukewarm. So then when somebody that's on fire come along, they looking at it like, whoa, you crazy. Hold on. You shining too bright. Hold on. Chill out, man. You doing the most.
Look, I don't have anything to say. He said it all.
Man. Crazy, man. So I want to backtrack, right? Because, I mean, yeah, we definitely got to backtrack, man. So you saying that somebody came up to you personally trying to get you involved into, some homosexual activity?
Me personally, I definitely dealt with that, brother. Like
all right. You wouldn't call him a liar? If you know anything about the music industry, you're not going to call him a liar.
See, I done rapped about it and everything. So I didn't want the deal that bad.
Well, he made me almost fall off my chair. I watched this interview a couple times. He made me almost fall out of my chair when he said, hey, look, y'all shut this interview down. School is out. The class is over today. He just set the internet on fire. I was laughing so hard when I heard that. He said, look, I didn't want the deal that bad. Oh, dang. Dang to the dang to the dang. We out of time for today. I got to stop. I'm about to fall out of this chair. I didn't want the deal that bad. I don't want the deal that bad either. Braden, what you got to say?
Hey, y'all. My name is Braden Byrne. I'm a student at Houston Christian University, and you're lucky enough to be watching the Erskine Music Show.
Woo! We have come to the end of this episode. Don't miss a final word from Erskine.
Hey guys, tell your friends about this show, and as always, I look forward to your interactions. Please contact us as you are able. We love to hear from you. Okay, friends, let's go and make a difference.